And hello, everyone. And hi, Maria.
Hi, Anne.
I am so excited to have you here with me today. I am not normally live on Tuesday mornings, and it is such a special treat to be able to have this very special broadcast with you.
Did I get you up early in the morning now, Anne?
So not too bad, not too bad. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. So
Okay.
I've been up for quite a while already. But I know that
Okay.
you are in a totally different time zone because you live in Sweden, right? So what time is it there?
It's 7 o'clock at night,
It's
so and
seven.
very dark outside.
Very dark outside, but you have fabulous lighting in your creative studio, so we can see you and we can hear you. And Maria Sabina is here, and I see Jean and Janelle and Vantina, all kinds of familiar faces and names. Melissa, Elizabeth, Carolyn. So welcome everyone. We're going to get started. I would love to introduce you to my dear friend and Swedish watercolor artist, Maria Ahl-Zanier. Many of you may know her because she's been in my hashtag Anne's Universe since 2019. But we haven't had a chance to come on live in a while. And so Maria, first of all, welcome and share a little bit about your creative journey with us because you found and fell in love with watercolor. Tell us about that
Yeah.
journey.
All right. First of all, I'm so happy to be here. But I went to art school in San Francisco, and that's where you are. So, but
Yep.
that's a long time ago.
We did not know
Um,
each other
I
at the time, even though we were both here when you were here.
I know. But I'll come back soon again. But anyways, I will. I always love colors. And I tried a lot of different mediums. I tried oil, acrylic, but I fell in love with watercolor. I think because the transparency and all the not maybe the traditional watercolor, but I like a loose style, a very vibrant, and yes, that's what I like. And I also love my garden and I love flowers. So I started to paint, and that's all I did for many years. And but then I wanted to explore more, and I wanted to get into making a pattern. And I had no idea how to do this, and I found you. So yes, and I was so excited to be able to take my watercolors into Illustrator and make it into a pattern.
Yeah, I think that
It
a lot of people are very curious about, a lot of people who love to do watercolor realize that part of the beauty of watercolor is how much color variation you can get, what the water and the level of water content does to create the beauty of your design. And in your case, you let's talk a little bit more about your style and sort of the fluid nature of your style. How did that develop over time?
I think I'm very much into experimental, or I don't know if I have one specific style, because I do something for a while, then I kind of get I want to try something new, and then I combined all these different mediums or techniques, I
Techniques.
guess you would say. Yes. And so I like to paint with, I don't have any really weird stuff here right now. Well, sticks, credit cards. I spray a lot when I paint. I guess I could show you this. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this painting here?
Yeah, it's
Oh, there
beautiful.
you are.
Yep, we can, oh my
And
goodness, it's
and, and
beautiful.
it's a lot of splashes, and it's a lot of I'm kind of erasing Anne with this little spray bottle. So
Wow.
I paint, and then you kind of take the paint away. It's almost the opposite way of painting, but when you let it dry, something happens to it. You can't control it to 100%. So you never know exactly how it's going to turn out, and that's kind of exciting as well.
It is really amazing.
You know?
And one of the things that I've realized actually by taking your course, and we're going to talk about your brand new course in a second, but what I discovered was that you have to be kind of patient, meaning that don't like think that it's not working while you're creating it, because you have to actually wait until kind of the end when it dries
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
what you got. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that could be hard for some people. And especially, you know, when I have my students here, and I can be pretty hard on them because I know they want to be, we call it petig in Swedish. They can be very, you know, they want to be so, they want to look like a photograph, right?
Right.
And I'm trying to, no, no, no. And then I get there with my big brush and I try and distract whatever they're doing. And but then it turns out good in the end.
Yeah, and I think that that's part of the. I mean, I think it might be a little harder for those of us who are super controlling, and so we want an exact result, or we're looking for that realism, as opposed to needing to embrace this idea of looseness and letting the color flow, which is, of course, your kind of tagline. And I love the fact that you have a kind of a distinctive approach, which partially is around the spraying and the removing of the color, but it's also about the big brush. So talk a little bit about the big brush.
Well, it could be the big brush. It could also be the big paper. Because when you start as a beginner to paint, you want to have a tiny little paper, and you want to kind of use a little brush because you want to sit there. But you know what? You can have so much control. Now, this brush isn't humongous, but it's still, I don't know if
It's
you can
big.
see the tip. The tip, yeah, it's big, but the tip can be super, super fine. You can get little details with this one, and it holds a lot of water and paint, so you can keep painting for a long time. And I don't think that you realize that you should use so much water. So that's what that is my line. Let the water flow. You win with lots of water.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So before we came on live, we were talking about kind of the connection between watercolor work and Adobe Illustrator. And so you came into my universe because you already have a very beautiful product suite, right? You have a lot of products that you sell already, from tea towels to the trays that have your fabric kind of embedded in them, to pillows that have really, really big oversized paintings on them. That's an example of one of your trays, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which are all gorgeous, but you had in particular a really, really beautiful big thistle print that you wanted to be able to put on, it turns out, a whole line of dresses. So talk a little bit about how you were then able to, based on learning Adobe Illustrator with me, kind of expand your product suite, if you will, or expand what you were able to offer because of what you could then do with vectorized watercolor.
Because I had tried to do it in Photoshop, but I could never ever get the size up.
Right.
It would be fussy, right? And
it would be too small, which is not your style at all. Your style is very kind of big.
So then in your class, I this is my thistle print, and this is the dress.
This is good. We can see you. That's perfect. You can't see us, but we can see you, and we can see the dress beautifully.
Yeah. So what I could do here, I vectorized my watercolor. Of course, I got so many vectors.
Right.
But I could also add things. In my original painting, I didn't have any butterflies. I didn't have the background of the little daisies. And, and also, like I said, I can make this huge, this pattern for a shower curtain or whatever. So I am it was just so perfect and so much fun to I'm so grateful for you, Anne.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm so grateful. First of all, I should be wearing the dress. I actually have gotten a whole bunch of new blouses with my own fabric on them. And so this is one of my new designs,
Oh,
which I totally love. And I was
awesome.
telling everybody the other day about how, sometimes we think we need to make these super fancy things, and this is just little dots that look like raindrops. And yet, it's like my favorite shirt now.
Yeah,
But,
perfect.
but you also have a beautiful example that you can show us of a tea towel that you made for Christmas as part of your sort of Christmas collection. And
Yeah.
and so show that to us on screen so people can see what is great about Illustrator is you still can totally get that amazing kind of watercolory look when you have turned it into vectors inside Illustrator. Look how beautiful that is. It's so beautiful, and you can tell that it is watercolor, but then you were also able to add that really beautiful font, right? You also have a very distinctive
Yes.
sort of brand font that you use. Look at that pretty
Yeah.
tag.
And this one I decided to print on natural, not white linen.
It's
I like the,
beautiful.
this
It's
off,
beautiful, the
what do you call it?
off-white linen.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
that
that's
was
another
fun.
example where that actually is not a pattern, that actually is an illustration, and then you added the text to it, but you used your watercolor elements for the actual design.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fabulous. So I want to make sure that we can share with everyone both your website and then also talk about your course. And so, and Maria Sabina is here, and Maria, you are absolutely, Marie Sabina, you're absolutely welcome to put all the URLs in the chat so that people can find Maria. You are at mazart.se because you're in Sweden, right? So I'm going to go to
Yeah.
mazart.se for just a second. I'm going to share my screen so that, oh, look, you've got the cute new picture too that is also on, that I used in my email this morning. I love this picture of you in the yellow blouse. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go to your beautiful website. So this is, can you guys all see on screen that I'm now sharing the mazart.se, because SE stands for Sweden because Maria lives in Sweden. And so the home page is www.mazart.se, and she's a watercolor artist who's been traveling the world and ended up with your family in this small town called Berg. So tell us a little bit about what this Paint a Dahlia in Watercolor with Mazart is all about, because enrollment is open.
Yeah. Well, it's about, it's a mini course, you can say. So it's a whole bunch of little videos, and it's all together 90 minutes. And you can follow me along. You can watch all the videos first if you like. But then, if you are a beginner and never painted watercolor, I think this is a good opportunity because you can follow me exactly and copy what I do. I explain what materials I use and so forth. And if you have experience, you can kind of make it into your own, little niche or whatever. But the good thing is that you can see it as many times as you want and you have it for the rest of your life.
Right. So it's so wonderful that it also is a little bit like like an appetizer, right? So because it's you're going to be, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the actual enrollment page, and so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go now to Paint a Dahlia on watercolor. This is actually can you guys all see this on screen? This is the link is in the description for today's broadcast. So when you go up to the very top of the page, or when you're actually watching us right now, if you click on the description of this broadcast, there's also this link. So all you need to do is click it and it'll land you on this page. And I love the fact that you have a video here at the top of the page, which is showcasing a little bit of sort of your style, and also the fact that you love dahlias. This is a gorgeous little mini video of you, and that's your garden, right, with all the dahlias. And then this is a description about how it's easy to follow along. You're getting all of these amazing watercolor tips, and it's a 90-minute step-by-step video, right? And so, this is the picture I love. I used this picture this morning when I sent the email out to tell everybody, hey, heads up, join us. So what do people need? You say no experience necessary. So talk to us a little bit more about who's perfect to take this course.
I think that if you want to experiment with watercolor and you want to get like a loose style and you want to have fun, just to try it out. Like I said, I like that it's a little appetizer, but like a little mini one, and you don't need a whole bunch. I have a list that you can print out with the supplies, but if you don't have them, you can more or less use your any kind of colors. Like these colors are good in a little. I always do it the wrong way.
I know but that's perfect, and I love that you've got that little travel pack, which is so fun.
Yeah, it's a little travel pack, or you can use the tubes, those kind of things. But if you have some kids watercolor, you can always try them too. And and some brushes. All you need is one big, one small, and I have one little video about how to stretch a paper. Then you need this guy, and I have a bonus video on how to frame your art. So there's a little bit of goodies in there.
Fantastic, fantastic. And listen, you've been actually teaching for a while. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that you were teaching quite a bit pre-COVID. Talk a little bit about those like in-person classes that you used to have, and do you have them back now that we're sort of, we can't really say post-COVID, but we're sort of whatever. But tell us about your in-person teaching.
Yes, I've been having watercolor classes for 20 years, and then COVID came, and that's when I started to make my big online course, Color Flow, and which I do twice a year. And but anyways, now I had my students back for only 3 weeks here now in the fall, but they were so happy to be here. And I usually have 6 students here and they're here for 3 hours, and every time we have a special assignment that we do, and they follow me along. But 6 is perfect because then I have time to go around and teach them all.
Yep.
But now when I have the world, it's pretty exciting too.
It is pretty exciting to have the world. I think it's kind of amazing that during COVID, a lot of us really kind of took advantage of the fact that we had to do things differently and learned all these new skills and learned how to find people online from all over the world. And it's an incredible opportunity to share your gifts with a broader audience. They don't need to be able to drive to your studio, right? So talk a little bit about how you feel. I mean, there's an amazing connection. I mean, you and I have never met in person, and yet I feel like you're one of my best friends.
That's what I was going to say too. I feel like we are so close. It's amazing. And I'm kind of looking at some of the, genes here. I mean, especially us who were together in COVID, I feel so blessed to have all these, Pauline, Kathleen, everybody. So,
it's a blessing.
Love this community.
Yeah, it's a real blessing.
It is a blessing.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
You don't have to finish the Color Flow class before this.
Yeah, so some of the questions that are coming up that are so great is you do not have to, you don't have to have taken her bigger course that she offers twice a year, and that will be available again starting sometime in the early part of next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's great is that this course, I believe, is like, I don't want to misquote the price, but it's a wonderful little appetizer. It's $47 US, right? And then basically talk just a little bit about it, because it's different from your longer course, which is multiple weeks. Is this a self-study? How would you describe this?
This is a standalone course, and so there won't be any Facebook Live or anything like that. You do your course by yourself, and you just follow along. You hashtag when you're done, so I can see your painting. Of course, if you have a question, of course you'll write me and I'll answer. Um, and yes, it is $47. I don't know why I picked that number, but I did. And I think this is also, I have to tell you a little story. I had a girl here who bought it, and she wrote me and she said, Maria, I want to give this to my mom for Christmas. So she bought it, but I have to send it out, and so she wants me to send it out for on Christmas Eve, because that's when
Oh,
we celebrate. That's when Santa comes. So I think, isn't that cool?
oh, it's so
So
sweet. It's so
yes,
sweet. And it's such a great gift, right? It's such an incredible gift. It's a gift that will bring such incredible joy to her. She's buying it for her mom.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and so you can someone can totally buy it, and then all they need to do is let you know they want to give access to, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think that's
I think that's great.
wonderful. And so, talk a little bit more
Hmm.
about so you'll be doing Color Flow again, which is your 5-week course sometime in the beginning of the year. But this is really a great little appetizer. It's also a great way to sort of warm up and also do a beautiful
Mm.
project. And so, talk about your love of dahlias.
Yes, I will. I got my dahlias from my great uncle. I think I've had them now for 8 years. And I plant them and I dig them up every single year. It's a lot of work, but I think they are just so majestic. Can you say that? Like so
They are
oh
incredible in terms of the
yeah.
complexity of how the leaves are intertwined with each other, and the bud itself is so sweet. The bud, when it's all like wrapped in the green
Oh
part, is like,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're
It's
just
crazy.
amazing.
But I mean, in the course also, I could say that I, I I talk a lot about layers, like how you build a painting. So it's not just maybe painting dahlias. It's a lot of different techniques, and how you start building up. You don't finish a painting like this, like bang, right?
Right.
You paint a little bit and then you let it dry and then you paint again, kind of thing. So it's like a process. It's a fun thing.
It is a process, but I think that, one of the things that's also really fun about it, and, I've been doing all these Instagram reels. I'm doing Instagram reels like every day with my surface pattern designs. And of course, they're all now Christmas themed. But you could make an amazing reel. Anyone who takes the course can take progress photos, and those make really, really
Yeah.
fun reels where you kind of show time lapse the process. But I
Oh
also
yeah.
love the fact that you can take them, you can take pictures along the way so that you can also help your brain understand that it's like, okay, it's not done yet. I have to go do something else. I got to let it dry, and then I'm going to come back and work on the next step. And I think
Mm.
that creates its own creative journey.
Yes, and you also can overdo a painting, right? You have to. It's very good to let it sit overnight or something, to take a look in the morning and say, where am I? Am I done or am I not done or what?
Right, right. And what do you, on that topic, how do you know? Do you get used to it with practice, or is it really sort of a gut instinct?
I was just going to say it's a gut feeling, yes, but I do like to put it. I also like when I work on painting, I like to work on a few at the same time. I don't work on just one. Maybe I have three, four going, and so then you know I work on A and put it away, and then I work on B, and then I take a look on A, and I said, I need a little bit of that there, So it's like a circle, and some usually they are in a theme. So
So you're
yeah,
using a similar color palette for the various ones you're working on kind of
yeah,
simultaneously? Yeah, but I
uh-huh,
love that idea because first of all, you kind of get in flow,
yes,
right? You
mm-hmm.
get in flow, and then you're not going from a completely different color palette to some completely different color palette. So all of the paints that you're kind of using are,
Mm,
you're staying within kind of. It's good to have some of these constrictions, right?
yeah,
To
and
help with kind of overwhelm.
I don't know what you think of me, Anne, but you know what? I am actually pretty organized sometimes. No, but my painting might look very messy, but there is a lot of thought before I start to mess it down. Can you say that?
Yep.
Before I know exactly what kind of colors I want. I'm thinking, of the composition and all this kind of stuff. And especially the big one here. I remember I mixed so many colors. Usually you don't take just the colors straight from the tube.
Right.
You mix so you get your own, and then you kind of you have a little color chart, right? So you always know, yeah, and you save that so you remember.
Exactly. And you have like one behind you, I think. Do you have like a color palette that's behind you? Because I love doing these. I actually really find doing the color palette work really like zen, very, very almost meditative.
Yes, yeah. These are not mixed. These are just straight from my tube, so I know what I have. Because sometimes when you see them and you click them out, I usually click them out on 1 second. A nice platter like this, and you don't really know exactly how they're gonna turn out. So that's why I have them in my book, and I can get a better idea about how they look when I paint one coat, kind of thing.
Right, so
And
it's
the
a
more
cheat
water,
sheet.
yes, and the more water I use, the lighter the color will be, and of course the opposite: the less water, the darker. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's kind of two components to what you just shared that are, I think, really important. One is you kind of want to know what your watercolor colors are going to look like on paper, because you can't tell that from the tube or from the little travel set. So creating that little cheat sheet so you actually know, wow, look at all your fabulous colors.
If I look in here, I don't know exactly how they look. So that's why it's so good to have it on my cheat sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then you know, okay, well, I know that I'm going to start with a very, very light pink, but I might add a little bit of blue to it or something, but you know kind of your starting point. And then when you work on a platter, like what's the best surface, what do you recommend that people use as opposed to like a paper plate or something?
A paper, no, I would use porcelain.
Yep.
And
porcelain is good because you can wash it off. Porcelain is good because it won't
yes.
stain.
And white and no patterns, like plain.
Just white, plain.
And of course, when you have these little palettes, you usually have little pockets like this. But they are quite, it depends on how big you paint. If you are a beginner, this is perfect, this little one. And you can mix. You don't need a gazillion of colors, because here you can make a whole bunch of nice, hues from this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So fantastic. So we have to say hi to Debbie because Debbie hasn't been around in a while. Debbie, it's great to see you. She said that she took a full-time job teaching elementary art. So that's great. You're getting to pass on your love of art to young children. That's fantastic. And you're on your short lunch break. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you here. Thanks for joining us. And so who has some questions? So Janelle is also a lover of plants. And so I didn't realize you have to dig them up. So when you dig them up, do you have to put them in your fridge or something? The dahlia bulbs.
No, I put them in my, they are huge. They are like so big, my roots. And I put them up, in my basement. I dry all the dirt off. And then I put them in a paper bag and I hang them in the ceiling, because if there would be a little mice maybe come in there for a visit, he loves that for so I hang them in. Yes. That's
so
what
they
I do.
have to be off. They have to be off the ground so that the mice can't take the little nibbles.
Yeah.
Amazing. And have you realized, do they change a little bit of their color, or do they look the same every year, or how do they do they evolve at all as the years go by?
They kind of are the same, but they, in the beginning of the season, they're more, my yellow ones are more bright yellow and they turn more orange,
Right.
And
Right.
I love my purple ones. They are really cool. And so now I got a whole bunch, and now I'm going to start to trade some from, so I can get some different colors. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell us, as we
Yeah.
wrap up, tell us like how long is this course going to be available? Is there kind of a certain point in, is there, how long is it available? So do people need to buy it right now, or how long can they decide?
Right now, I don't have a deadline. It's been out there for about a week, and so I think it's like I said, it's a perfect Christmas gift for somebody or for yourself, maybe.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
yeah, so it's going to be out there for a while. You can find it on my homepage, and you can also find it on my Instagram page, in my link tree there. And how
Fantastic.
many weeks? It's not really like that, Teresa. It's more of a you do it by yourself. It's like a standalone. It's you just do the course
It's a
by
self-study
yourself.
course. Yeah, I like to call it a self-study, which means you get access to it immediately. It goes
Mm-hmm.
into what Maria and I like to call kind of this member library, where if you've purchased anything from Maria in the past, or if you buy other things from her in the future, they'll be in the same member hub area, and you can access it right away. You can start it right now, or you can buy it now and do it later. But essentially, you do it on your own, and then of course you can
Mm.
email Maria if you have questions. And then if you want to give it to
Oh, yeah.
someone else, you can buy it now as a gift, and then let Maria know who you actually want to forward it to, so they can use it whenever they can start it whenever they want. I love that
Mm.
idea. Hi, Valerie. It's
Yeah.
great to see you. So fantastic. So I highly encourage people to check it out. I'm going to go back over to the login to the page. This is the Enroll Now page, right? And the link to this beautiful page is actually at the top of the video. So for any of you watching the replay, you can also click on that blue link that's up at the top of this broadcast. And then you can scroll down and learn all about it. But the key thing is that you don't need any prior experience, because she's going to walk you step by step through how to create this beautiful dahlia painting. And I love the fact that you also do your website in 2 languages, which is so impressive. It's only $47 US. You can purchase it now and do it whenever you want, right? And so you've got some beautiful testimonials from students who've taken your watercolor courses in the past. This is a beautiful one from Natalie. You can scroll down and see others on the page. But the wonderful thing is, as Maria was describing, it's a self-study course. You can buy it right now, and if you're too busy at the moment, you can just set it aside. You know it's always there for you. Or you can start it today, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it is 90 minutes worth of teaching, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's really fun.
It's really, really fun. And at the end of the day, you have this incredibly beautiful painting. And the great thing about watercolor is every time you do it, it's going to look different, right? So
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
you're buying something for $47, but every time you sit down and you decide to go through the program and actually do the painting, each one is going to be different. You could do an entire series, and every single one is going to look a little bit different, which is really kind of magical.
And I know that Lillemore, who's in here sometimes, she bought it, and she painted two at the same
At the same
time, and
time.
they turn out a little bit different. Yeah, so that was kind of fun to see.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So listen, thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining me today. I know that people are busy. I usually try to not take more than about a half an hour. Everybody knows where to go to check it out. And it is both a wonderful gift for yourself, or for someone that you love who loves watercolor, or even somebody who wants to get started in watercolor. And I am so honored to be able to talk about it today, and it's always lovely to see you, Maria.
Oh, the same, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and make sure that that everyone goes to Maria's website, which is mazart.se, because she has other gorgeous products that you can purchase. You can buy tea towels, you can buy her beautiful calendar for 2023. I already made a bunch of purchases, which arrived last week, and they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so if you can absolutely find the link to the watercolor course on her website, but you can also check out all of her other beautiful products.
All right. Thanks everybody for stopping in.
Yes, and we will see each other again really soon. And you and I will still be on when I hit the finish button. But thank you again so much for joining me. And then everybody go check out the course. It's fantastic. You'll love it. All right. Thank you so much, Maria. I always like to say in closing that Maria is all about let the water flow. And I am all about it's never too late to create. So bye for now, everyone. Hej då!
Hej då!